Welcome to MRII's Insights and Innovators podcast, where we talk to top market research professionals to get their inside stories about innovative and enduring best practices. Today's episode is sponsored by Full Circle. Named the Panel Company of the Year, Full Circle is a leading provider of high-quality online insight, leveraging survey experience, advanced tech, flexible community strategies, and unparalleled quality controls. We give you immediate access to proven data for better insights. Now, here's your host for today's episode.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's episode of Insights and Innovators. I'm your host for today, Stan Sthanunathan. Today's topic is energizing the insights function in the world of tech, which is incredibly dynamic and rapidly evolving. Today, we have lined up a great guest for this topic, Murray van Blaricum, Senior Director of Global Insights at Google. Murray has spent a long time in the world of insights, and I've had the pleasure of working with her closely at Unilever, where she drove research innovation at scale, among other things. In this episode, Murray shares her perspective on how to take the insights function to play a more central role in a dynamic world of technology. Whether you're on the client side or on the agency side, you will find the insights incredibly invaluable in shaping your career as well as shaping your role, whether you're working on the agency side or on the insights function on a client side. Welcome, Murray.
Hi, Stan. It's so great to be here with you.
Great. Murray, you have a unique perspective on the world of insights. You have worked both in the CPG world and now in the tech world. What are the two or three big differences that differentiate the insights function in these two different industries?
Yeah. So there's actually a lot of similarities. So the thing that I found surprising is that at the foundation, the role of insights to understand people holistically, understand their needs, and merge that with what is best practices in marketing and business opportunities are very similar. So there's a lot of foundations there. I would say some of the differences is just the speed and the rapid cycles of change. So with in technology, you're launching lots of products. They're not always something that consumers can touch and feel, or it's not something obviously that is on either their bathroom shelf or in their fridge. But the cycles are really quick. And then also the role of marketing and the role of insights is a little bit different. In CPG, you oftentimes own the whole entire funnel, and you're very early on designing what's the innovations and thoughtfully setting full funnels and strategies and segments. And in tech, you're really running and going quite quickly with the pace of change and working closely with your marketing partners as well as your product partners to ensure you're helping to translate technology and features and upgrades to what really matters for humans and for people around the world.
Wow. That's some different. Although as you said, there are similarities, and that's very heartening to hear. Now, before I launch into asking a bunch of questions, I would love to know a little bit more about your journey. So, what has been your career, and how did you got to where you got to today? Can you just walk us through your own insights journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I specialize in large scale transformations and insights, analytics, and digital marketing. So I spent my kind of first 10 years in more traditional insights, just learning every aspect of marketing. So you'd learn how to make great ads because you would test hundreds of ads. You would learn about all elements of mixes and business models. And then for kind of my second decade, when Stan came into Unilever, I switched more over into how can we really advance the function? How can we drive innovation and insights? Merging kind of my lifelong love of technology and working there. So I led research innovation at Unilever, and then Unilever was incredible at leading digital marketing. So also went in to help set up the digital hubs and the digital marketing at pace with data capability. After that, I kind of transitioned over to head the insights function over at AB InBev. So traded in bar soaps for beer in bars, and then joined Google to lead the transformation across marketing and to ensure that we are championing people and users into the future.
Great. I like the way you framed it, beauty bar to beer bar. That's a great one. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Now, every company talks about consumer centricity and how we need to meet the needs of consumers. From your own vantage point, what do we need to do to get the status we deserve, given the importance of consumer centricity?
Yeah. The truth is, it starts with us.
Hmm.
We're not going to suddenly get a phone call to run into the boardroom to give the views. It starts with us. And one of the big angles for how we need to think about where we're going is how can we be strategic leaders who have a specialty, and that specialty is our superpower, versus specialists trying to be strategic. And
Hmm.
so I think one of those is like framing our work for how can we really be the ones that help the CMO, that help the executives not only know the user better than anyone else in the company, but also know the opportunities, know the strategic moves we should make, all the way down to how we should optimize to be able to serve the user or the consumer now. So I think making that shift and framing our impact around that is really important. No one's going to call us up on our own. We can't just wait to be invited into the room. We really have to think about how can we add value and lead with our superpower of insights and data versus just focusing only on the tactician part of the role.
Well, I love it. I love to hear that. It's all a question of being proactive, leveraging
Mhm.
both strengths. That's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember your mission at Unilever of half the time, half the cost, double the impact. And I think that's so important because a lot of times people are focused just on half the time, half the cost. How can we go faster? How can we do more activity? And I think that impact instead of just activity is so important, and something I know you led the cause on at Unilever and for so many others in the industry.
Thank you. Uh, so the million-dollar question, everyone is talking about AI these days. How do you see AI impacting the world of insights?
Yeah. I think with AI, it's really important for insights to step back. It's easy to get worried about, oh, this tool is claiming insights or this insights. And I think actually AI can be the best thing that ever happened to the insights industry.
Hmm.
We've been talking about for years how we need to switch from the activity of doing the research into being much more business and impact and strategic focused. And what AI can finally help us do is pull out of that grunt work, as you used to call it, out of the things that take a lot of our time, and use AI to help enable that so that we can really shift our skill sets, so we can really focus on being the dot connectors, being the strategic leaders, and really using AI as our superpower. I use AI almost every single day in my role, whether it's using Notebook LM to bring different sources together to provoke my thinking and make sure I'm not missing anything, whether it's using AI to help connect the dots and clean data across large sets that teams used to spend a ton of time on. And I think if we change our perspective from the industry is under threat, or what's going on with all these people claiming they have insights from AI, to how can we use it to really further enable our superpowers, I think that's going to be the unlock that we need to be able to finally play the role in the businesses that we've been wanting to play for years, but didn't have the technology to do yet.
Oh, that's such an optimistic point of view. I mean, that is something that has always defined you, Marie. You've been a optimistic, can-do will type of person. And I love this optimistic note that you're striking on AI. By the way, I also strongly feel that it'll augment human intelligence in a big way if you choose to use it. If you choose to use it another way, it can replace you, because if that's what you see as your job, it will replace you. So it's a choice that you make. It's a choice that you make.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so in that kind of a rapidly changing world where AI is becoming literally omnipresent, what should professionals in the insights industry do to future-proof their career?
Yeah. I saw an external stat that was something like the average life cycle of skills now is only 2.5 years. And I know for rising generations, our colleagues in their 20s and their 30s, like how to keep up with this pace of change and how to future-proof their careers as well is really important. So I think the thing is like you cannot lose the core kernel of insights, which is curiosity. And that is curiosity for your own personal learning, to constantly be playing around with these new tools, to be reading new sources, to be doing things that aren't even in the insights or the marketing industry. And so I think the most important thing is adopting and really living that curious lifelong learner mindset, and that's going to get you really far. The other thing is there's really practical free resources out there. I know Google has a ton of resources on how to upskill in AI. There's a lot of MRII has fantastic resources around insights and what's the latest there. And so I think it's just carving that time to make that investment into you, which then pays off into investment in your roles, to be constantly learning and keeping up with like what is the latest tech, what's the latest in the industry, what's the latest that we can do, and think about what's the latest that now we can step up thanks to technology's ability.
That's amazing. Thank you. Uh, when the world around us is changing rapidly, obviously, leaders have to lead differently, they have to influence differently. What do you see as changes around you that you see which will influence leadership and influencing skills transformation quite significantly? How are they evolving? How do you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, when there's times of rapid change, I think where we have the opportunity to be able to set that bigger, steady vision is really important. So that's whether it's saying like, this is where we're trying to go as a function and the impact we're trying to have, and then making sure that you have the right processes and teams in place to keep up at pace with that change is really important. So I think providing that steadiness is really important, and not just let's switch everything to chase the tools, but like let's know what our goal is with the tools and then make sure that we're piloting, iterating, and being fast with how we evolve our capabilities. I think the other thing too is I'm seeing a swing even more so towards those leadership competencies. And just knowing methods is not enough, because those are all changing and being disrupted. So those leadership competencies and setting up the opportunities for your team to learn and grow and develop across is really important. So, good old like advanced business partnering, feeling like you can storytell and advocate for a view on an opportunity and need to do that faster than ever because those opportunities are coming faster. Being able to expand a brief and get people who might be in a really fast turn cycle, thinking very small right now, to think bigger and to build to something bigger. And then I think it's all those things of storytelling, effective communication, and really confidence that it is really important for our capability right now to be in the center of the business discussions. It can be the steadying force in itself to help guide the business through what is a lot of change, what is a lot of things coming at marketers, and we can be that force in the center that helps them recenter on why are we doing this, which is at the end of the day, we are doing things to be able to improve the lives and to help people around the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well said. Now let's get a little bit personal. You had an amazing career. What can others learn from your career? And what I mean by that is, what are the two or three things that propelled your career, and something that people can say, oh yeah, that is interesting thing that I can learn from? What would they be?
Yeah, I had a leader at Unilever who gave me one of the best pieces of advice that has changed how I made decisions in my career. And he said to me, as you're thinking about your next moves, you should always feel both nervous and excited. And I am a kind of a high energy, positive person. So I am excited about almost everything that has to do with learning something new or tackling something new. And it was really fantastic advice because it made me look at quite differently at what roles I would take on next. Because if you're just excited, that's going to fade once you get in it. If you're just nervous, that's a different issue. But being able to take that decision of, is this next step going to be something that's going to help me grow, that I'm going to learn a lot with? So that's that nervousness. And then also something that I feel like I can really bring my best self to. And that's what helped me make those decisions. The decisions to go take the role at ABI as the functional head, my decision to come to Google is a little bit of the nervous plus excited. That's really helped. I'd say the other thing early in career is again, going for those unique opportunities that are going to set you apart. I was really fortunate early on to be able to do a mix of some kind of strategic and launch and small business and large business roles that helped set me up to be able to really understand dynamics of business better. And then in kind of the second chapter of my career, being able to go into things like data-driven marketing, and my team held a media budget. Like, that's so different than a classic path. And being able to see the business and learn from that side has just helped me expand my perspectives to be able to give better recommendations and have more impact now.
That's amazing. Great. The more people I talk to, the more I hear that insights industry is at crossroads right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Given that the world of technology is evolving rapidly and is coming at you fast and thick, what are the biggest opportunities for the insights industry to leverage that and pick the right path and turbocharge the whole industry? What is it that they should be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part is playing the midterm game versus the short shiny tool. So really thinking about strategically what should be our role and what should be AI's role, and as the enhancement to us. So I think it's finally time for us to do the relaunch in the industry we've been talking about for a long time, which is like, how do we not just do research or just deliver insights, but how do we be those impact organizations? And so I would say being really clear on what's the role of the specialist versus the enabling technology. And also, how can you go 10x on the amount of impact that you have leaning into these capabilities? But then just always remembering too, there's all those soft skills that we have to keep an eye on. We can't do conferences that are just on AI enablement. They also still need to be on like, who is showing up for their business in a new and a strategic way? How do we build those skills consistently? And how do we make sure we don't lose track of the things that can make us impactful from the specialist human side as well? But we've been at a crossroads for a number of years. We all remember agile methods. We remember technical, and so I'm incredibly excited to see the next wave of innovation, but also client side innovation too, of a wave of how they're engaging with their businesses and using AI to do that. And I think it's going to be a very, very energizing thing to see for those who do it well.
Awesome. Any threats that we need to plan for?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a lot of the one thread I see is around the definition and quality standards of insights. I see there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of capabilities that are coming in saying we deliver insights. And when you look at it, it's how I define an insight is something that unveils a new business opportunity that has a business impact and can spark a great idea. And there's a big difference between an AI generated single bullet point and something that actually matches the brand opportunity and the business opportunity. And so I think protecting that higher level order of insights, and then again, insights are going to become a commodity if they're not already. So how do you make sure it's insights into impact? And I think those who just stay in insights, or those who let that commoditization happen without showing the higher level impact, that's going to be a bigger threat to our industry, because what is the value there?
That's great. And this is a theme that I'm picking up from a lot of people consistently. How do we focus on impact? And we have, something unique to bring to the table, i.e., knowledge of consumers, what they need, what keeps them awake. And therefore, our ability to recommend impact is much better than, we give ourselves credit for. So thanks for that message, Murray. It's been wonderful to talk to you in this podcast. Really appreciate the time that you spared. Thanks for a great session. I'm sure the audience will find some incredible pearls of wisdom from this whole conversation. And I want to thank you again for not just the podcast today, but also for all the support for MRI. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Stan. Have a great one.
Thanks for joining the Insights and Innovators podcast from Market Research Institute International. Click subscribe to never miss an episode and visit us at mrii.org for more market research insights.